Hello everyone and welcome to a new Castlevania Symphony of the Night Developer's Diary. And in today's video I'm going to cover a topic that I've been very reluctant to talk about before, and that is to speak about roughly how far along are we in this project in terms of completion and when it should be finished. One of the reasons that this has been very difficult to answer in the past is the fact that I was of course brand new to both programming and game development when I first started the project, so it was really hard to estimate how long something would take that you've never ever done before. Fast forward a couple of years, however, and I'm now much more experienced in terms of game development and programming, and more confident in my skills and ability to estimate roughly how long something would take. Okay, to begin with, let's take a look and have a quick estimate of how much of the project has been completed so far. As you can see here, I've roughly split the game up into 4 different areas. So the areas one at the top here means areas of the castle, so you can think of it as levels. And the 15 number here in total, it encompasses the SotN exclusive areas too. So at the moment with I think by the end of this year the Royal Chapel should be finished, so we should have 5 of the 15 areas, which is roughly 1/3 complete. For anyone who's seen the tutorials from this year will know that I've created some new tools and scripts which makes putting the levels together much more quick and efficient than it was last year. So because of that, once I have the graphics available, I'm able to quickly prototype them and put them in the game. And for example, recently I've been doing lots of the area stuff. So once I've done the color conversion and everything that needs to make it suitable for the Mega Drive, actually putting it into the game is quite easy due to these new tools and also the better code level creation code I have in place now. Okay, next up is the music, and we have 17 out of 26 tracks complete, so it's 65%, so around 2/3 complete already. The music itself, each track I've already allocated it to different musicians. I think we've got around 5 or 6 working on the game, so it's not such a big, if it's just one person doing it, it'll be a lot of work, but thankfully we've divided up into 5 or 6 people, so it's less work for everyone. Although of course doing a cover of these lots of orchestral tracks, these special music for Symphony of the Night for the Mega Drive sound chip is a real challenge, so I'm really happy. Everyone's done a great job on this so far. Okay, thirdly we have the enemies, so I counted 77, again this is quite a rough number, and I've already done the AI and everything else for 30 of them, so roughly got 38% completion, so quickly approaching half done. And I think now I've actually got quite a good workflow of creating enemies for the game. So when it comes to the actual colors of the enemies, I'm doing more and more of this myself so that Pyron can focus on doing the level graphics. So I think doing the converting the enemies for the Mega Drive isn't quite as difficult as the level graphics. It's still a challenge, but it's not so bad, so I can do that myself. And of course doing the enemies takes a lot of time and effort too, because you have to as you can see here, I normally play the PlayStation original, then I review it I really break it down and analyze it frame by frame, so I can see which frames of animation are playing when and how long they last for, especially for like attack animations and so on, and also just analyzing the enemy behavior too. So of course I don't have access to the original code, I'm just eyeballing it and trying to do my own version based on what I observe. Actually, for most of the enemies, I think I'm making their reaction times a little bit quicker than before, and just so I can make it a bit more challenging, because in the original game, a lot of the time you can destroy an enemy before they even have a chance to attack you. So I don't want to make it frustrating, but I want to give it a bit more of an added challenge. And you can see here in these sprite sheets where I've got the individual sprites, and I also have the how long each frame lasts too. And I break down the different animations, and also sometimes, although a lot of the sprites have already been ripped and put online, which I'm very grateful for, but sometimes they are missing some animations, so I have to rip those myself, which takes a bit of time too. But I've got quite a good workflow in creating enemies, so just as with putting the levels together, I feel it's a much more efficient process now. Okay, and for the bosses, I've counted 6 out of 27 complete, so that's 22% complete. Doing programming the bosses and the whole process of that is very similar to doing regular enemies, but obviously they're more complex, especially some of the bigger enemies in the game, the bigger bosses in the game. However, I think people really enjoyed the bosses I did for the last Christmas demos, so I'm going to continue as I've done before, just to do slightly more challenge. Again, same with the enemies, but especially so of the bosses. Some of the bosses were very interesting in terms of design, but they were way too easy in the original game. So I've been making the bosses a bit more challenging, a bit more aggressive, so hopefully it'll be a fun challenge even for veterans of the original game. Okay, so now we've already taken stock of about where we are, how much progress we've made in the game so far. I'm going to make some estimates on what I think I can achieve in 2025. When it comes to the enemies, the more I do these, the quicker they are to do. It always seems that the next enemy is always quicker to do than the previous one, because I get more efficient at doing them. So even if I do one enemy per week over 2025, this should be finished. So I hope that I'll be able to get this to 100%. Now bosses are a bit more tricky because especially some of the larger bosses in the game are going to be quite hard to do, plus their AI is more complex than the regular enemies. However, I will try my best to get this to 100% too, no promises here. So with the regular enemies I'm a bit more confident I'll be able to get this completed. With the bosses, not as confident, but I'm going to give it a try. As for the music, I think we can definitely get a few more tracks out of 2025. Once the levels are ready and we don't have any music for a particular other game, then I'll speak to the musicians and get an update and see how they're getting on, but there's no point kind of rushing them until that point. So I think that it's possible that we can get this up to 100% too. It's not impossible, but we have to wait and see. And finally, when it comes to the areas of the games, the different levels, in terms of the stats and stuff, I think especially the I think it's called the Cursed Prison, there's not really much there. It's a very kind of short level, so maybe in that particular case we need to create some new assets to make it into a proper level rather than just, I think in the original it's only about 2 screens or so. As for the rest, I said my level creation code is pretty good right now. It's pretty efficient, as well as my all the tools I've created to do that. So I think as long as whatever Pyro manages to do, I can stick into the game quite quickly. So this one, I hope that we can get maybe another maybe 5 areas in the game and bring it up to maybe 2/3 complete over 2025, but we have to wait and see. So if you look at overall, I think in 2025 we can make a good progress with the game. I'm personally going to do it so that I have more time to devote to the game, so I really want to get this finished and GG Shinobi finished too as quickly as possible, because there's some other projects I want to do in the future too. However, we'll have to wait and see, but as you can tell this from video, I'm being a bit more kind of business-like in how I look at the project now, because even though it's a hobbyist project, I think if you want to get something like this finished, you have to really kind of focus in on what needs to be done and give yourself some little deadlines on when you'd like to finish it. So we have to see how 2025 goes. Lots of things could happen, so no promises, but I think we can make really good progress in 2025, and I'm looking forward to showing everyone the Christmas demo for this year. So for this year's Christmas demo, we should have the Royal Chapel area to play, and also the some areas from Area of Sorrows. So we should have the Underground Cemetery as a substitute for the Catacombs, and also the I think it's called the Study in place of the Long Library too. Okay, so that's pretty much it for today. Thanks very much for watching, and if you're interested in this type of content, then please subscribe to the channel.
I'm interested in this.
Working on this and GG Shinobi and my other projects as well as the tutorials obviously takes quite a lot of time and effort, so I have a Patreon account and any support is much appreciated.
You won't go unrewarded.
Until next time,
farewell.